Hello. I just wanted to make a little funny little thing. Today I was a little bit inspired by a YouTube video by Jordan Peterson called Twitter Ban. Today I think what's the day today? 5th of July or something. 5th of July I think. 2022. I just wanted to make a little joke. Actually not a joke, but it's about, first of all, it's about freedom of speech, and it's about the pursuit of truth, or it's about the exposition of truth. It's about the exposition of something which is true, which means something that is of interest for the general public and something that is to the benefit of global world society. I wanted to say something that is of interest should be of interest to the public, to the part of the public that is interested in intellectual matters or in intellectual standards. And it should be accepted because it is a part of the ongoing reflection that makes global world society better, more intelligent, more aware, and with deeper insights into everything. Jordan Peterson has been a great figure for carving out more space for knowledge, in our quite stupid modern times, in our contemporary societies around the globe. So he's done great work because he has made many people more clever. He has made many people more clever. He has given insight to people who didn't have much insight from before. And he has corrected and modified something in the neurocircuitry of especially young males or older males who didn't have much cultivation of their neurocircuitry before Jordan Peterson came along, so to speak, to be a little bit naughty. But this is just a taste. This is just an hors d'oeuvre. This is just a taste of the naughtiness of this video. So be prepared, baby. Yeah, so I mean, I've followed, not followed, but a little bit. I've followed Jordan Peterson for 2 years, I guess. I mean, he rose to fame 2 years ago or something like that. And I've seen many videos, and I've even made some recordings too that I probably didn't publish because they were too critical. And those videos, especially when he was the guest or invited into the Oxford Union and Cambridge Union, I thought that was a very sad thing, and a very sad thing for intellectual standards, because he performed really, really, really badly, in my opinion, there. I mean, it was, you cannot see him as an intellectual, basically, more or less, because, I mean, the level is simply just too low. And, well, in any case, I think he made a mess of it, but he had the right to do so because, of course, he was offended by, especially Cambridge from before, because of the invitation bullshit that they woked him out of the business, that they suddenly found out that no, it was not appropriate to invite Jordan Peterson anymore because he was controversial, or because he didn't treat all the delicate subjects of our society with the utmost care and respect. I really like the critical part of Jordan Peterson, the revolutionary part, so to speak. The thing that I really like about Jordan Peterson is his authenticity, that he is himself. He's authentic, he is himself, and he's emotional. And he doesn't hide the fact that he's emotional. He's crying. He's able to express his longing for God, for Jesus, for Christ, for beauty, for the common good, for the deep, for the Holy Grail, so to speak. I mean, he is able to cry publicly. He's willing to cry publicly. He's willing to show his emotions. He's willing to show that he's a soul searching for God and meaning and truth and connection and unity with the divine or whatever. It's all very wonderful qualities because they are honest and authentic. And to me, I really appreciate that, because it's so much bullshit in this world and among people, both among professors or gurus or teachers or whatever, who are not actually sincere or honest or authentic, but they pretend to be because they have cultivated a persona that exposes or conveys that in them that they want to expose and convey. But another part of themselves, they want to hide it. But Jordan sits down in a chair and says, and starts to break down and say, look, sweetie, here I am. If you want a professor, take it. I'm crying for Jesus, a little bit, same like that. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. Really, really beautiful. But now I'm coming to the little bit naughty side of this little recording. And that is because of the video that he made of the Twitter ban. He has a legitimate reason to cry or to be offended, because it's a woke thing, the cancel culture and the woke thing in our society is horrible. How the hell can you even think of cultivating society when it's not legal or possible to talk about society, when you cannot address issues in an open, transparent, non-judgmental way, which Jordan Peterson does. So he has all the reason in the world to be upset about it, of course. Of course, he has all the reason in the world to be upset about that. And it's a very sad thing. But I think that my point is that, well, Jordan or anyone who's listening, that you just have to accept it. This world has lost its mind long time ago. I mean, the political correctness and the woke and the cancel culture is just is a disgusting thing, and it's so simply so stupid, and it's just a symptom of how bad the state of the world is, how bad the state of affairs is. I mean, how ridiculously immature the world leaders are, how ridiculously immature the editors of the big media is, how ridiculously immature politicians are, So it's our world leaders or society figures in any way. So I mean, it's very, very, very sad, and it's really sad that people of knowledge doesn't come out, and that's one of the things that's really great about Jordan Peterson, that he got to be super famous. He's super famous, and that's very good, because he's, if not educating people, he is at least giving knowledge and insight to people. This is actually my little point, that I think that, I think that Jordan Peterson is a really good teacher. I think that he's a really good teacher. He can give knowledge to those who doesn't have it. To be a little bit naughty, and especially towards you Americans, because you're so arrogant that you don't know how ignorant you are. But anyway, he's a good teacher because he can give knowledge to people who doesn't have any, But also another part of the naughty point of this little talk is that as an intellectual, I cannot see him as sometimes I see him as an intellectual, because as an academic he's good, especially when it comes to Carl Jung and As an academic, I respect him. As a psychotherapist and a researcher and an academic, I really respect him, and also as a teacher, and of course, without question, as a public figure. But as an intellectual, I would say probably no, because I think that his insights are not good enough. I think that he's not on a high enough level to be interesting to me, at least. And I know that there are many intellectuals in the world who feels the same. But never mind. Who cares? It's good enough. As long as he's making movement in the brain of people who need some movement in the brain, that's really very good. And he actually makes people more clever, so that's fine and wonderful. And most of all, he is a spokesperson for free speech. He's a spokesperson for free speech, and he's a soldier for truth and humanity. He's a soldier. Wouldn't say a warrior, but maybe he will become a warrior a little bit, for humanity. Because of course he has a messiah complex too, or maybe not a messiah complex, but at least devotion for the Christ, or for the universal Christ, which is in everyone. So, so this is all very fine and good, but he and other people also deserves to hear that, well, perhaps it's not top of the shelf always, but it's very good and it's very sound and it's very healthy for the public that we have people like Jordan Peterson, even if his knowledge or his insight, in my mind, is not deep enough and not good enough and not penetrating enough. But it's very good that we have figures like him that engages huge parts of the population and activates intellects, activates debate, activates dialogue, activates the polarity that exists inside the world scenario, so to speak. Because of course there's a big polarity among nearly every issue when it comes to gender issues, when it comes to religion, when it comes to freedom of speech, when it comes to all these subjects that are woked out of the world in a way, because of the stupid, idiot, cowardly cancel culture. That's also the horrible thing. People with no knowledge, people with a really stupid and ignorant intellect, or perhaps even with no intellect at all, they call critical voices trolls. Trolling on internet, trolls. People who doesn't know anything, they say that, trolls. And this has become a fashion word, so everyone says that. Even the clever ones, the professors say, no, he's just a troll. He's trolling. He's an internet troll. He's making comments, critical comments, that is just trolling. We have to block him. We have to cancel him. Which is amazing, because some of these trolls are highly intelligent, and if you cannot troll anyone, if you cannot ridicule someone who deserves to be ridiculed, then there is no intellectual possibility, then there is no potential for intellectual growth in society, simply because you have to be able to do that. People cannot be offended anymore. It's horrible. Why can't they be offended? To be offended is a part of life. It's very healthy. It's like carotene. It's like acupuncture for the body. It's very good to be offended. And even defamation should be allowed in many cases, or at least it shouldn't be punished with 20 years in prison or even death sentence somewhere. Trolling, criticism. Look, how about ancient Rome or ancient Greece? Do you think that they addressed each other with silken gloves and careful words and lipstick? No. They said, hello, you fat fuck senator. You don't know anything about agriculture. Why don't you go home and put your head in the sewage, a little bit. That was a part of everyday life, They made fun of professors, of senators, of politicians, of judges who were corrupt or whatever, Now we cannot say anything because we'll end up in prison, or we will be blocked from Facebook or Twitter or from internet as a whole, or from Google or whatever. The cancel culture is horrible, and it must and should be possible to be critical towards each other. And Jordan Peterson is exactly a voice for this, in favor of this, and that's more than good enough in order to deserve every kind of praise that one could give him, because he's actually standing up for human rights. He's standing up for human rights, because freedom of speech is a human right, and it doesn't really matter too much about his opinion or his viewpoints, his perspective, his position when it comes to certain issues. Of course it matters, but the most important thing is that he's speaking out about it. That's wonderful, really wonderful. We need a humanity that has people who speaks out, and we have to be able and mature enough to not cancel each other out of the table just because we have a critical comment to each other. We have to accept that. Anyway, Thanks a lot for listening. This was just a little blah blah gadoo ba gadi gada gadoo. Thank you very much and amen.